All right, family. Blessed day today. My apologies for not posting yesterday. I went to the park and it was like crazy. They had a lot of stuff going on. Then it started raining, and I love doing my videos outside. As you can see from the background, I am at a new location. That's a little area. We got a bunch of ducks and stuff over there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but regardless. All right, marriage and divorce. This is going to be one of the ultimate videos about marriage and divorce. And I definitely want y'all to stick with me. This is going to be very interesting. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So marriage and divorce. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one. Remember, you, your husband and you, y'all get together, y'all become one, okay? So understand that. And I'm probably going to be moving this around so that I can read the thing. But for the most part, let's get it. Sorry. So meaning and context. First, I need to state this, guys. I really need to push this out. Malachi chapter 2, verse 16. For Yahuah Elohim of Israel says that he hates, and I capitalize that, he hates divorce, for it covers one's garment with violence, says the Adonai of hosts. Remember, Adonai just Lord, okay? Therefore, take heed to your spirit that you do not deal treacherously. So this is pretty much a commandment for the husbands not to divorce their wives, because you'll leave her open for so many attacks, okay? So Malachi 2:16 addresses covenant faithfulness in marriage, warning against divorce, because it breaks the protective covenantal relationship established by Yahuah. In the historical context, this passage rebukes the men of Israel for divorcing their Hebrew wives in favor of foreign women. Okay, y'all get that? Wives in favor of foreign women, which is described as an act of spiritual violence and covenant betrayal. The metaphor covering one's garment with violence refers to the breach of protective duty a husband owes his wife, suggesting that divorce brings emotional and social harm, which it literally does. It definitely does. Because if you two are together, that's one thing, and y'all separate. But if y'all have kids together, that is really damaging to society, because a lot of kids that don't have both parents in the household and that are not a functional, stable household, they will end up at times going down the wrong path. Now, not for everybody. That's not the case for all kids, but for the most part, that is the case. Okay, so please understand that. In the beginning, Genesis 2:24 states, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. This verse is central to the biblical concept of marriage, establishing that a man will leave his family of origin to form a new primary family unit with his wife, okay? The phrase one flesh signifies a deep and complete unity in marriage, which includes physical, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. Leaving. The verse established the idea of leaving one's parent home to start a new life together with one spouse. Do y'all hear that and see that? This signifies the creation of a new family unit that is now the man's primary focus. Okay, understand that. Cleaving or holding fast. Holding fast or cleave implies a strong commitment and deep permanent bond between the spouses. A permanent bond between the spouses. One flesh. The phrase one flesh describes the profound union of marriage, which goes beyond mere cohabitation to a deep, intimate connection where the two individuals become a single unit. They become one single unit, okay? So this is why a man leaves his father and mother and becomes attached to his wife, and they become one. They become one. They were two, now they one, Okay. And I don't know what y'all know about one, but if it's two people and they come join together and they become one, it ain't no separate. It's no separate. Okay. Ephesians chapter 5, 28, 33. The Bible states that a husband who disrespects his wife is, in a sense, disrespecting himself. Okay. So please understand that, people. All you husbands out there, please understand this, what this is saying right here. And all you pastors that's signing off on divorces and stuff, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. Like, real talk, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. So the idea is based off of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28 and 33, which says that husbands should love their wives as they love their own bodies, because he who loves his wife loves himself. So understand this. If you guys claim, I'm talking to the men, if you claim to love yourself, but you don't love your wife, you are a liar. Understand that. I'm just saying it. And I'm not actually saying it. This is what's in the scriptures. Okay. So once again, if you don't love your wife and you say you love yourself, you are a liar. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else. And you're definitely lying to the Father, okay? And you know liars don't get nowhere near the kingdom, okay? Please understand that. And I'm only teaching this and telling y'all in love because I am so sick and tired of people trying to make excuses for why they divorce or whatever the case may be, okay? Listen. The passage likens the relationship to how Hamashiach, which is the Messiah, the person you call Christ, loves the church, emphasizing that the two are to be one flesh. One. That's it. Once y'all together, that's it. Okay. In the eyes of the Father, and there's so many. I got this covered. In the eyes of the Father, once y'all two become one, that is it. Okay. Love. As loving oneself. The core idea is that a husband is to love his wife with the same kind of self-love he has for his own body. Now, I'm going to say this. I realize, like, and I always bring this up, and I hate to say it like this, but 74% of the American population is obese or overweight. And with being obese or overweight, there comes health issues. You guys are not fasting like the Messiah said. B, you guys don't take care of yourself. So C, to me, that tells me you really don't love yourself, okay? And I'm talking about eating healthy, working out, making sure that you stay fit, because you have people that you are supposed, and especially to you men, you have people that you are supposed to be accountable for, not just yourself, but your wife. And if y'all got kids, them too, okay? So please understand that. And I'm only saying this out of love, guys. Please don't take offense to what I'm saying, because this is all biblical. Okay. So once again, I'm going to read it again. Love as loving oneself. The core idea is that a husband is to love his wife with the same kind of love, self-love he has for his own body. Since a man wouldn't naturally hate or harm his own body, he should not harm or disrespect his wife either. Okay. Very simple. So men, if you out here hitting on your wife, disrespecting her, calling her out of her name other than queen and partner, and listen, y'all hurting yourself. Y'all not only hurting her, but you hurting yourself. And if y'all have kids and you doing it in front of them, you're making a horrible example of how a man should be. Okay. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care about the appearance of a person. I don't judge based off of how a person looks or what they got in their bank account or what kind of car they drive. It's what you got in here and here. What's in your heart and your mind. Your heart really is your mind, because with the way you think, is the way you're going to be. Okay. So if you think you can disrespect your wife or anybody else, then you are harming yourself, and literally you are not part of the kingdom. Okay. Please understand that. Now, the one flesh concept, the passage connects to the concept of a husband and wife becoming one flesh. Okay. If the wife is a part of the husband, disrespecting her is akin to disrespecting a part of himself. So if you disrespect your wife, you are literally disrespecting yourself. Okay. Please understand that. Please, once again, don't take offense to what I'm saying. You see, you got get all this noise kicking up. Anyway, please don't take offense. Understand this is all biblical. Every time I read something to you guys and I break it down for you, it's because this comes out the scripture. Now I have to break it down so that you can understand. And please take everything I'm saying out of love. Please take it with love and don't take it out of context, okay? And take it personal. Well, if the shoe fits, then take it personal. And I am talking to you then. But the passage uses the relationship between Hamashiach and the church as a model for the husband-wife relationship. Just as Hamashiach nourishes and cherishes the church, which is the people that make up the church, not a physical building. Understand that, okay? Remember, the word that they used was ecclesia, meaning chosen ones or gathered ones, okay? That's the church. The husband are called to love and care for their wives. Understand that you men are called, this is a call, ain't a command, to love your wives and care for them, okay? Mutual respect, though. While the passage focuses on the husband's love and care, it concludes by saying that the wife must respect her husband. However, and let me before I go to the however part, ladies, please, if you don't respect your husband, you also are disrespecting yourself. Please understand that. So if you talking bad about him to other people, if you talking bad in general about him, please understand that you are disrespecting yourself as well. So when you talk about him, you're talking about yourself. Please understand that. And vice versa. When you men are talking bad about your wives, you're talking bad about yourself. Please understand that. Anyway, however, the primary statement that he who loves his wife loves himself is the foundation for the husband role in the relationship, okay? He who loves his wife loves himself. It's simple. Don't make this harder. It's not complicated. The scriptures are not complicated at all. So please don't make this more difficult than what it is. If you don't love your wife, you do not love yourself. Simple and plain. Don't take it personal. Please don't. In Matthew 19:4-6, Yahushua is quoted as saying that Yahuah made humans male and female from the beginning, and that a man will leave his parents and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Okay? So I don't want to hear you ladies saying, oh, listen. I got some more verses and stuff, and I'm gonna break them down too. If this ain't for you, hey, if y'all doing good in y'all marriage, keep it up. Actually, listen to this stuff so you can understand how y'all marriage is supposed to be. Man, everybody needs to take a lesson. All these people that's always focused on the bad marriages, please hold on. Please understand. That's crazy. Please understand that you guys are an example for your children, okay? And not only that, for society in general, okay? Please understand that. So please understand, the two will become one flesh. He concludes this by stating, so they are no longer two, but one flesh, okay? They are no longer two, but one flesh, okay? Therefore, what Yahuah, which is the Father, has joined together, let no one, I'm talking about a lawyer, a judge, families, friends, let no one separate, okay? Please understand that. This passage emphasizes the divine origin and permanence of marriage as an institution of oneness that should not be easily broken. Please understand that, okay? Yahushua quotes from the creation account in Genesis, explaining that in the beginning, Yahuah, which is the Father, and remember, Yahushua is the Son, our Messiah, our King. Remember, he's a king. The Father is a king, okay? But Yahuah, our Father, our Abba, created humans male and female. That's it. He only created male and female. That's it. Nothing. Anything else, man, that's the devil. And I'm just saying, no, it's in us. It's biblical. Okay, it is what it is. He then cites Genesis again, stating that a man will leave his parents and be united with his wife, becoming one flesh. And I'm stressing this, and I put this on here again because I have to stress the oneness. You guys are one, okay? Regardless to what society might want to say, your friends and family might want to say, listen, you guys are one. That's it. Deal with it. Grow up, mature, and deal with it, okay? He summarizes the concept of oneness, declaring that the two are no longer separate individuals, but one flesh. He concludes with the famous line, therefore, what Yahuah has joined together, let no one separate, emphasizing this union is meant to be permanent. It is permanent, okay? So even if you guys try to separate, go your own way, y'all still one. Y'all still one. I mean, y'all can't mix and mingle with nobody else until that person leaves this earth. That's the only way. Now, y'all could separate. Y'all could even go to court and divorce or whatever. That's cool. But y'all can't be with nobody else. You two are still one. Don't get it twisted. Y'all can talk about your feelings and all that. Miss me with that. Excuse me for saying this, but miss me with that. We focus on what the Messiah said, okay? He said, answered and said to them, have you not read? He was talking to the Pharisees because they was trying to trick him. Asking them, well, what's up with the divorce? What you feel about, what you think about divorce? Nah, brother. Nah, he already came with it. Because remember, he was there at the beginning anyway. He said, have you not read? Have you not read? Because a lot of y'all don't read the Bible anyway, so I don't know how y'all even want to speak on it. But anyway, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? That's it. That's it. Don't even take it nowhere further than that, okay? And he said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. So then they are no longer two, but one, okay? Uno, dos, uno, okay? Comprehende? Sorry. But anyway, so then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what Yahuah has joined together, let no man separate, okay? Matthew chapter 19, 4-6. Please read it. And I know y'all gonna go down, try to listen, man. Y'all, it's permanent. Get it in your skull. The Messiah's teaching on marriage emphasizes it is a permanent, exclusive, and sacred covenant between one man, and one woman. Anything else is of the devil, is of Satan. Anything else, is one man, uno, and one woman. That's it. Anything else y'all trying to do, man, y'all stepping out of character. I'm telling y'all. Anyway, intended to be a lifelong union. Key principles include the one flesh union where spouses become inseparable and the importance of mutual love, companionship, and sacrifice as modeled by Yahuah's relationship with the church, okay? Key teachings on marriage. A permanent, unbreakable covenant. Marriage is presented as a permanent and unbreakable vow with the phrase, what Yahuah has joined together, let no one separate, being a central theme, okay? Please understand that. Exclusive union. The teaching stressed that exclusivity of marriage between one man and one woman, reinforcing the idea that they become one flesh and that this union is a unique and intimate bond that parents do not share. So y'all not sharing this relationship with nobody else. Y'all try some weird, out of the pocket stuff. It is not going to work. It is a sacred bond. Marriage itself in general is just a sacred bond established by Yahuah, our Father, okay? Which involves a public vow until death do us part. Y'all say that. Obviously, you don't mean it. So y'all listen, if y'all will break your vows and try to make excuses for it, then you're not a person of your word. I don't care what goes down. Y'all supposed to figure whatever. I don't care what goes down. However it goes, y'all need to figure it out. Work it out. Simple. Okay? Which involves a public vow and a commitment to live a covenant relationship with one spouse. Okay. Purpose and companionship and friendship. The creation of woman for man was to provide companionship. The creation of woman for man. A woman was created from Adam, Eve. Understand that. To provide companionship, a need that is fulfilled in a deep friendship within marriage. Y'all supposed to be y'all best. Y'all two supposed to be y'all best friends. Y'all shouldn't even have other friends. Y'all two should be y'all should have, everybody else should be associates or acquaintances. But no, y'all, when y'all get together, y'all should cut out anybody being friends, my bestie and all that. No, 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 no. That person you married, man, your wife, that's who's supposed to be your best friend. Your bestie, girl, ladies, that man you married, that's supposed to be your best friend. Anybody else, y'all, again, look, listen, this is a lot of reasons why marriages ain't worked out, because y'all always involving other people in your business. That's y'all union. That's between you, the father, him, her. Anybody else, they out of pocket. They out of place. That's all. And I'm saying it like that. Sorry. Sacrificial love. Okay. The model of spousal love is Yahushua's sacrificial love for the church, implying that husbands should love their wives as Yahushua loved the church, and that both spouses should prioritize each other over themselves. I'm sorry. So, husbands, your wife should be your main priority. Wives, your husband should be your main priority, not the kids, each other. Each other, not your mom and dad. Husbands, men that y'all love to run to your mamas and stuff, your mama boys, man, first of all, y'all need to grow up. Like, literally, grow up. Grow up. I'm telling y'all, I know y'all not gonna like hearing this, but it needs to be said. Grow up. Everybody, I mean, honestly, everybody on the platform needs to grow up. In general, just in general, everybody. But men, when you involve somebody in your relationship, there's going to be problems. Ladies, when y'all involve somebody in your relationship, there's going to be problems. It's just what it is, okay? Total union. Marriage is a total fusion of lives, not just a social convention. It meaning y'all got everybody in your business. It involves becoming one in a way that includes physical oneness, but also extends to a union of souls, finances, and emotional lives. Mutual respect and oneness, while emphasizing different roles, the teaching stressed that both partners are equally, you guys are both equally valued. Disrespecting a spouse is likened to disrespecting oneself because of the one flesh union. Okay. Once again, you disrespect your wife, you're disrespecting yourself. Wives, you don't respect your husband, you're not respecting yourselves. Simple. Confronting divorce. Yahushua's teaching directly addresses divorce, highlighting the trauma of tearing the physical oneness and advocating against separation unless specifically stated in the scriptures, such as in cases of adultery. Now, I'm gonna speak on this adultery situation because I know everybody loves to use that right there. First of all, this is America. Let's be real and let's be honest with each other. Marriage back then, if we're going to take marriage and we're going to implement it into our lives, then you're going to do it the way they did it, not the way you want to do it or the way society wants to do it or how they want to allocate what marriage is nowadays. No, you're going to do it the way they did it. See, the problem is with everybody, when y'all got together, more than likely, y'all done messed around with other people. Okay. So ladies, back then, matter of fact, let me chill out. I got something for y'all. The origin and creation. The teachings root marriage in the creation account, affirming that it is an institution designed by Yahuah, that's our Father, from the beginning, intended to be stable and foundational part of human life, okay? Matthew 19, 7 through 10. They said to him, why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? To put her away, meaning to put her to the side. He said to them, Moses, not the Father. Remember, let's go back one. Origin in creation. The Father. It's an institution designed by Yahuah, which is the Father, the creator of everything and everybody, intended it to be a stable and foundational part of human life. Now, let's go back. He says, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives because of what? The hardness of your hearts. Your hearts were hardened. You had no love. You lost love for the person. That's wrong, okay? But from the beginning, it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. So even if the man divorces his wife, if she get with somebody, it's still considered adultery, okay? Even because the whole thing with the sexual morality is this. They had a custom. I've said this before in videos before, where the woman was a virgin. No doubt about it. The woman was a virgin. She stayed with her parents until she got married. That's just how it was back then, okay? Please understand that. Let me move this over. Oh, sorry. She was a virgin and stayed with her parents until she got married. Very simple. That's how they did it. That was the custom. That was a custom traditional thing that they did. That was actual general lifestyle for them. Okay. The husband, that's why he said the man will leave his mother and father and mother, whatever. And it was the same for the woman. She would leave her mother and father, and they two would be joined and become one. That's how it worked out, okay? So, bear with me. His disciples said to him, if such is the case of a man with his wife, it is better not to marry. Why would they say that if they thought it was okay, if divorcing her because of sexual morality would allow them to be with somebody else? Why would they say that? I need y'all to put your thinking caps on, please. Think about why they said that. Think about his disciples said to him, if such is the case of the man with his wife, it is better not to marry. They said it's better not to marry than to marry and divorce because you can't be with nobody else. Okay? Simple and plain. He permitted, remember, Moses permitted them to divorce. Okay? But he said, whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. Okay? But it's the same coin, two sides. The man gonna have problems too. Trust me. They said to him, why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? Not divorce her, to put her away. He said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality, and I'm going to explain more about that sexual morality thing, and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. His disciples said to him, if such is the case of the man with his wife, it is better not to marry. Because they understood that, hey, if you guys divorce, ain't no getting that's it. Whoever divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. That's what they said, right? Rules of divorce. You must purge the evil from among you. Deuteronomy chapter 22, 20 through 21. Y'all need to read that. Women were expected to remain virgins. Listen to this. That's why I said I'm trying to hold off on that last part. Women were expected to remain virgins until marriage. To be sexually active before marriage was seen as a serious sin, serious sin, and brought shame on her father's house. Remember, the women didn't leave until they got married. So they stayed with their mother and father, and that brought shame to their household. Now, nowadays, y'all probably don't care. Y'all make up excuses and reasons, all this nonsense. But they had morals and values back then, for the most part, not all of them. That's why they kept getting in trouble in the first place, because they lost them. They had them for a while, then they would lose them. But anyway, a woman who was discovered not to be a virgin was put to death. So check this out. Understand this. If y'all gonna get married and y'all gonna put the father, if y'all involving the father into y'all life and y'all get married, y'all gotta do it y'all gotta do it the way it was supposed to be meant. Not, hey, I slept with a couple people and then, they slept with a couple people and then we got together, got married, and oh, he cheated on me, he did this, he did that. No. See, you already disgraced your father's house. If you got with your husband and you had already had a partner before him or partners before him, you had already disgraced your father's house. Okay? So it ain't no excuse now. Y'all, once y'all become one, that's it. Y'all need to work out, figure it out. Y'all need to go to therapy, whatever the case may be. Y'all need to figure it out, okay? According to Deuteronomy chapter 22, 13 through 21, if a man accuse his wife of not being a virgin, see, this is the thing. Y'all trying to bring this society, this lifestyle of this world that we live in into something that never accepted that type of lifestyle of thinking back then. So y'all can't take the marriage part and just do what y'all want with it. Y'all can, it's the Father's. He created it, okay? So if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do it the right way. So check this out. If a man accused his wife of not being a virgin in marriage, the matter was brought before the elders, and the wife's family could present evidence. The wife's family could present evidence to defend her honor. So they would take a sheet, right? The night they consummated their marriage, they would take a sheet, right? The parents lay the sheet down, and then, the husband and wife get going there, they do their thing, and then they would take the sheet. Now, if the sheet had blood on it, that proved that she was still a virgin. You know what I'm saying? But if it didn't have blood on it, then that young lady had problems, and she wasn't going to be around long. Simple and plain, okay? So anyway, if the accusation was proven false, the man was punished, fined, and was never allowed to divorce her. However, if the accusation was true and there was no proof of her virginity, the punishment for the woman was much more severe. She could be put to death by stoning at her father's house. Meaning her own family would stone her. Not no other, but the neighbors, the people that was at the wedding, the husband, his family, no. Your family. Your family supposed to put you out of your misery because you did something and you violated the laws, the commandments, okay? So check this out. However, if the accusation was true and there was no proof of her virginity, the punishment for the woman was much more severe. She could be put to death by stoning at her father's house. The process was judicial, not simply a matter of private divorce by letter. The general law allowing a man to divorce his wife with a written document, a get, that's what it was called, came later and was applied in different circumstances, not specifically in response to a lack of virginity at marriage. Thus, for the specific case of alleged non-virginity, the law involved a public trial with two possible outcomes: exoneration and protection from divorce, or death if found guilty, not a private or simple divorce proceeding. See? Y'all, that's what I'm saying. If y'all would have understood this, y'all probably would have never got married. That's why they said, let's go back. If such is the case for a man with his wife, it is better not to get married because they didn't want to go through this. This is the reason why. They understood this. They knew the scriptures. They knew it, okay? Anyway. Where do we go from here? So, Mark 10, verse 9 is a Bible verse that reads, "Therefore, what Yahuah has joined together, let no one separate." I got to stress this. This verse spoken by Yahusha in the context of a discussion about marriage and divorce emphasizes the permanence of a union that Yahuah has created, that the Father Yahuah has created, okay? Key meaning, the verse is a command. I got a video I'm about to make after this called Command, Keeping the Commandment. So this verse is a command for people to not interfere with or break apart a marriage that Yahuah has brought together. Okay, please understand that. Context. The verse follows Yahushua's teaching from Genesis about a man leaving his parents to be joined with his wife and the two becoming one. The two becoming one. Biblical connection. The teaching on marriage, which includes this verse, is in contrast to divorce that was common in Hebrew culture at the time. Okay. Interpretation. I don't care about if it was at that time. We should be still honoring it because the Father made it. Okay. It's interpreted as a statement on the sanctity and this solubility of marriage, a sacred bond between a husband and a wife that is not to be broken by human actions. By human actions, okay? So ladies, you got your girlfriends yapping in your ear and they probably single or whatever. Hey, you need to leave them. Leave them alone. Don't mess with them. I'm telling y'all, don't do it. Mark chapter 10, verses 11 and 12 states that whoever divorces their wife and remarries commits adultery against her. And if a wife divorces her husband and remarries, she also commits adultery. This passage in Mark chapter 10, verse 11 to 12, this passage is part of Yahushua's teaching on marriage and divorce and remarriage, where he emphasizes that a marital covenant is intended to be a lifelong bond. Okay, it's lifelong. That's just what it is. Please understand that. Explanations of the verses. Yahushua's teaching. Yahushua teaches that a divorce and subsequent remarriage is considered an act of adultery against the first spouse. Okay, so that video that I posted a couple of years ago or a year ago or whatever, where she's saying that if you married to somebody else and your first husband is still living or your first wife is still living, you're not married to that second person. You're still married to that first person. Hands down, that's just what it is. If you don't like it, oh well. Anyway, deal with it. The woman's role. The teaching applies equally to both men and women, stating that a woman who divorces her husband and marries another also commits adultery. Context. This passage is part of a broader discussion where Yahushua addresses the laws and cultural practices of his time regarding marital and divorce, ultimately pointing to the sanctity of the marriage covenant. Just because they did it back then don't mean we're going to stop doing it, okay? Thou shalt not kill. Just because they said don't kill don't mean you're going to start killing now, okay? You in America, they got laws and rules about doing stuff like that. You will go to jail if you kill somebody. Simple, okay? And you follow those rules, so follow his rules. Simple. Implication. The verses serve as a serious warning against the easy dissolution of marriage and highlight Yahuwah's design for a lasting union between one man, one woman. One man, one woman. I got to keep stressing this. I know y'all don't like it, but it is what it is. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and 11. Here we go. Contains the command. This one, listen, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and 11 contains the command from Yahuah that a wife should not separate from her husband, and a husband should not divorce his wife. If a separation does occur, check this out. Now, if y'all decide that y'all ain't gonna work it out or whatever, that's cool. It's not cool. Let me take that back. Father, forgive me. It is not cool. If y'all decide to separate, it is not cool. I'm just going to say it. It is not cool. If a separation does occur, the wife must either remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. Okay. This passage emphasizes the permanence of marriage, though a later verse, 1 Corinthians 7:15, addresses the situation where an unbeliever spouse leaves the marriage. And we'll get to that one too. Key points from the text. The command, the primary instruction is for married couples not to separate or divorce. Listen, y'all gonna have to grow up and figure it out. Very simple. The authority. Paul states this command is not his own, but comes from the Father, Yahuah, our Adonai. Adonai means Lord. Remember that. The instruction for separation: if a wife does separate, the options are to remain unmarried. Y'all only got two options. Check this out. You're going to either remain unmarried or be reconciled, meaning y'all going to get back together. Very simple. Don't make this harder than what it is, okay? The instructions for the husband. The command for husbands is to not. Husbands, you are not to divorce your wives. Simple. Simple. Context: the passage is a response to the high rate of divorce in the first century city of Corinth, and teaches that believers should not follow the prevailing cultures, views on marriage and divorce. So what they did back then should still apply to this day, okay? If not, then, man, I don't know what to say. But verse 10, it says what? To the married, I give this command, not I, but Adonai. Remember, Adonai is the Father, Yahuah, Lord in your Bible. A wife must not separate from her husband, but, if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband, and a husband must not divorce his wife. Man, come on, look, man, stop making this harder than what it is, guys. Let's talk about unbelievers, okay? 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 15 states that if an unbelieving spouse chooses to leave a mixed faith marriage, the believing partner is not bound by the marriage and should not try to force them to stay. Meaning, remember the last verse, it said, y'all ain't supposed to separate. So if y'all want to separate, cool. In such cases, the believing spouse is not under bondage and should allow the separation to happen. They ain't say remarriage. They just said the separation. As Yahuah has called believers to live in peace, we supposed to live in peace. Cool. If the unbeliever leaves, the believer is not obligated to prevent the separation or force the unbelieving spouse to stay. Never says anything about remarriage, okay? Not under bondage. This phrase means that the believing spouse is no longer bound by the marriage vows, particularly in the sense that they are free from the obligation to maintain the marriage when the other partner is the one leaving. So listen to what it says. Not under bondage. It just means, the phrase means the believing spouse is no longer bound by the marriage vows, particularly in the sense that they are free from obligation to maintain the marriage. Meaning the husband has to support financially the wife or whatever the case, or the wife still got to do things for the husband or whatever the case. That's what they're talking about. Not, we not bound together. That means that we could get remarried. Nah, it don't mean that. It don't mean that. And don't even try it. Do not try it. Anyway. Called us to peace. The verse emphasizes that the believer should accept the separation and focus on living in peace rather than struggling against a partner who is resolved to leave. Okay, so check this out though. Now, y'all don't read the next verse. Y'all never read the next verse. Y'all only read one verse and y'all want to run with that verse. And we read the whole verse. I tell y'all, read 20 verses, whatever verse you pick, right? Read 20 above, read 20 below. Read 20 above, as above, so below. Do that. Always. 20 above, 20 below, so you can get the understanding of what they're saying. 1 Corinthians 7:16 is a verse within a larger passage about believers married to non-believers, and concludes the advice that a believing spouse should not initiate divorce, and that if the unbelieving partner leaves, the believing spouse is not bound, meaning they don't have to keep that person. The verse itself asks, how do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? So meaning, let me finish reading it. This suggests that the believing spouse should remain in the marriage for the sake of peace and potential salvation. Meaning your partner may not believe at first, but they might come around to believing. They may see the Father working in your life, and he will, if y'all doing what y'all supposed to be doing as kingdom citizens, as you should, okay? as the unbelieving partner may be sanctified by the believer's presence. Okay, your presence alone will sanctify your non-believing partner. Okay, so understand that. The verse is a part of a larger discussion in 1 Corinthians 7, verses 12 through 16, where the Apostle Paul addresses a specific situation when one spouse is in an existing marriage becomes a believer. Instructions to the believer. Paul advises the believer to stay with their non-believing spouse if they are willing to continue the marriage. Why y'all got married in the first place and they was unbelieving? That part I don't even understand, because it's verses that tell y'all not to be unequally yoked with other people that are non-believers. But anyway, regardless, whatever the case may be. Sanctifying effect. The passage explains that the non-believing spouse is made holy because of the wife and vice versa, and their children are considered holy. So y'all separate. Your children are not considered holy. That's why I tell y'all that y'all got to continue to read the rest of the verses. Y'all not even, this is not just about y'all. Y'all got kids involved in this too. And y'all making your kids unholy because of y'all actions. Selfish. The not bound clause, check this out. The passage adds that if the unbelieving partner insists on leaving, the believer should let them go. The believing spouse is not obligated to stay and is not enslaved in that situation, okay? Because y'all bound together and y'all are like together. Y'all like we slave to the Messiah, okay? We married to the Messiah, okay? We died, and we are born and renewing the Messiah, okay? So, question in the verse 16. The question, how do you know whether you will save your husband or vice versa wife, is a rhetorical question. It implies that you cannot be certain of their salvation. So the focus should be on living in peace and letting Yahuah work through the situation rather than causing conflict by initiating a divorce. Overall message, okay? Primary message is that a believer should not divorce a non-believing spouse if the latter is willing to stay. The goal is peace. Okay? And the believing spouse can potentially be an instrument of Yahuah's work in the marriage. If the unbeliever leaves, the believing spouse is free from the marriage commitment, okay? So, I don't know why. There you go. 1 Corinthians 7:39. One of my favorite ones. Another favorite verse of mine. Okay, check this out. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 39 states that a wife is bound to her husband while he is alive. But, check this out. Now, check this out. Here you go. This is your leeway to get a divorce. But, if he dies, she is free to remarry, with the condition that she must. Now check this out. This is the problem. Y'all go from bad to worse. Literally, you go from a bad situation to a worse situation. If your husband leaves this earth, and this is for the ladies, okay? A wife is bound to her husband. She is bound to her husband while he is alive. But if he leaves this earth, she is free to remarry. Okay. Now this is your room. This is your wiggle room to remarry. Only this applies to remarriage. Check this out. With the condition that she must marry someone in Adonai, meaning another believer. You marry somebody and they leave this earth, and you marry somebody that's not a believer, you got problems. You got problems, like literally got problems. This verse is the conclusion of the discussion in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 about marriage and singleness, which advises against divorce and offers guidance for remarriage, okay? Marital bond. A wife is legally and spiritually bound to her husband for as long as he lives. Death is the only event that dissolves this bond. 1 Corinthians 7:39. Please understand and read that. Don't read just one verse and try to run with it, because you're going to be in trouble. You're going to run into a ditch. I'm telling you right now. That's all y'all going to do. And that's going to be on y'all. Check this out. Death, I got it bold. Death is the only event that dissolves this bond, with some interpretations also allowing for divorce in cases of adultery or desertion, meaning somebody just leaves the marriage. They just pack up and leave, and you come home, they gone. But allowing the divorce, nah, y'all bound for life. That's just what it is. Now, if y'all want to make it more about y'all messing around and being with somebody else, that's on y'all. You know, remember, the Messiah said they were two, they became one. So y'all, if y'all got an issue with this, I'm gonna just say this now, because I know somebody gonna say, it says, listen, if you got an issue with this, then guess what? Y'all can be with somebody. Y'all gonna talk to the Messiah. Y'all discuss this, have this conversation with the Messiah or the Father during Judgment Day, and then y'all can work that. Y'all can figure that out, okay? But I'm just going by what they're saying. Freedom to remarry. After the husband's death, a widow is free to choose a new spouse, but it's a spiritual condition. The crucial condition for remarrying is that her new husband must belong to Yahuah. This means the new spouse should also be a believer based on the principle found in verses like 2 Corinthians 6:14, avoiding being unequally yoked with unbelievers, okay? So they got a verse for that. Okay, please understand that. So, guys, I literally said a lot on this. I said a lot. I hope y'all get this. I'm trying to make sure y'all understand this part. Please understand this part. Please. 2 Corinthians 6:14 is a Bible verse that advises against being unequally yoked with unbelievers, meaning believers shouldn't, from the start, not form partnerships with or alliances with those who do not share their faith. Okay, the verse uses rhetorical questions to emphasize the incompatibility, of righteousness and lawlessness, and light and darkness, urging believers to separate from things that are opposed to Yahuah. So if these people don't even believe in the Father, why y'all marrying them in the first place? Is beyond my comprehension. I don't even understand that. The yoke metaphor. A yoke was a wooden beam used to pair animals. Y'all can Google this and look this up, for plowing. Being unequally yoked refers to being improperly or unfairly paired with somebody, meaning like you got a cow with a goat and y'all trying to have them work together. It's not going to work. Application to the relationship. The passage is often interpreted as a warning against intimate relationships and partnerships that are spiritually incompatible. Okay. A lot of y'all done been down this road. We already know this. Okay. Now, distinction between partnerships and evangelism. This verse is not a blank prohibition against having a relationship with non-believers, but a warning against certain types of deep partnerships, especially those that would compromise one's faith. Meaning that how Solomon married all, and that's why Solomon, at his last days on earth, he lost his combobulation in his mind, because he married women that had other gods they was worshiping and stuff like that, and they turned him from the Father. That's why believers are still called to engage and minister to those who are not believers. You just shouldn't marry them. That's all. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loves his wife loves himself, guys. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28. Thank you and shalom. I know it was a lot. I know I said a lot, but please, once again, if y'all don't agree with this, y'all take it up with the Father during Judgment Day. Pray, fast, ask the Holy Spirit to lead you. Now, I know y'all going to say, a lot of people going to say, God was abusive. I get that part. Once again, unequally yoked. And he might have been in the church or whatever, but just because y'all didn't know the scriptures, that person didn't really know the scriptures in the first place anyway. But regardless, pray about it. Fast. Ask the Holy Spirit, the Father, to guide y'all into what y'all should do instead of making the quick decision to divorce. And don't allow other people into y'all marriages, and please don't allow people into y'all situations, okay? All right, guys, I love y'all. Thank y'all for being with me this long, and I will see y'all later on the next video.